Jananim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Muhur Muhur. Today we are going to practice a Bhakti Yoga meditation. And as Maharaj said in his first speech, there's nothing more purifying and elevating than love. Only it should be pure. Bhakti arises from the tranquil heart, not out of passion. And Bhakti is when the object of your love is holy. Then love naturally becomes devotion. So if Bhakti can be practiced, all other things will come naturally. Jnana will come unasked, unsought. But if Bhakti is not there, it's a very dry life. Not worth living. So how to cultivate love for God? If you read the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, the entire, you can say, undercurrent of devotion is there. He's constantly talking and experiencing the deepest ecstatic states. So bhakti is very important in the spiritual life. No matter what our predominant path is, bhakti should be there. If we love God, you're safe. You won't be carried away by the world. Naturally. And so we are all bhaktas in a sense. We may be talking of Vedanta, but nothing is there without bhakti. So we are going to practice a bhakti meditation. But we are going to meditate on Sri Ramakrishna. Now you must understand this kind of meditation, because the object of our devotion now is something so elevating. Naturally the mind will touch that. Sri Ramakrishna's state is like, I really don't know how to even think of it. Because he used to say, to utter the syllable Om, I have to come down 100 steps, he would say. That was the state of his mind. Or I should not even say mind, the state of his being, his consciousness was like that. To say Om, I have to come down 100 steps. And then he would say that, do you know how I interact with all of you? I borrow 1/16 of my mind from the Divine Mother. And I talk with you, I laugh with you. But then the least suggestions of God consciousness, and the entire mind again goes and plunges at her feet. She who's the embodiment of existence, consciousness and bliss. And that is how I'm able to talk to you. We are going to meditate on this mind, okay? And really the least suggestions of God consciousness would put him into samadhi. You have it described in so many places in the gospel, yes? The day-to-day interactions with Sri Ramakrishna show us the state of his mind. Just if Charanamrit was brought in front of him, he would go into samadhi. He didn't even have to drink it, He would start reeling in a deep bhav samadhi state. Just the utterance of the names of God. See, this is the connection we have to make with Sagun Sakar Brahman. Just the utterance of the names of God would put him into ecstatic states. And once somebody was standing in the pose of Krishna, and Thakur went into samadhi. He hardly needed an excuse to go into samadhi. Once somebody closed an umbrella in his presence, and it reminded him of the sudden gathering in of the powers of the human mind, the state of yoga, and he went into samadhi. And he could not bear the tearing of cloth in his presence. Anything division to do with division, because a unitary consciousness he was experiencing all the time. The smallest things would send him into that state. The paraphernalia of worship would put him into that state. So this is no ordinary mind. I think briefly we did discuss the samadhi state. Yes? if you are able to maintain that state of absolute flow, which puts you into full awareness for more than a certain period of time, it leads to complete absorption, raptness. It's a kind of beatitude that you can feel even in the state of flow. And in its deepest state, that is samadhi. So awareness obviously has to blossom fully in that state. So this was his normal state of mind. Now we are going to meditate on him, okay? To feel something of the touch of that. And there's something very interesting I would want to tell you about this photograph of Thakur also. Please see how this photograph was clicked. It is really amazing, even that story. Everything about Thakur is thrilling. See, this photo was taken in 1884 when Sri Ramakrishna was 48 years old. And he was always reluctant to be photographed. So it was actually done by Bhavanath Chatterjee, who came with a professional photographer to Dakshineshwar just to capture Sri Ramakrishna. And Sri Ramakrishna was not ready for it. Like a child, he would say, no, I don't want it. And fortunately, that day, Naren happened to be in the Dakshineshwar Kali temple. So now just take your mind to Dakshineshwar for a few seconds. Imagine this plot, this scene. Bhavanath is arguing with Thakur that he needs to photograph, and Sri Ramakrishna is totally reluctant. Then Bhavanath discusses with Naren, and then Naren comes to Thakur and takes him, those steps of the Krishna temple. Sri Ramakrishna is made to sit on those steps, and Naren sits next to him. He says, forget about the photography. And he starts talking to him about God, about the Divine Mother, about devotion. Bas. Sri Ramakrishna is in samadhi in no time. And then Naren signals to Bhavanath, now take the photograph. And quickly, in those days, those box cameras, that was adjusted in front of Thakur. And the photographer looked at Sri Ramakrishna and saw that he was slightly tilted forward in his superconscious state. He was slightly tilted forward like this. So he boldly stepped towards Thakur and tried to lift his chin. The moment he touched Thakur's chin, you know what happened? The whole frame of Thakur came up like this, like a piece of paper. The state of samadhi is not an ordinary state. He had become so light, Sri Ramakrishna, it was like a paper thing framed there, and it came up like this. And he got the shock of his life. He quickly put back the paper doll and came back. And then he didn't know what to make of it, and so he quickly took the photograph, and that's the photo of Sri Ramakrishna. And later on, when Sri Ramakrishna saw it, he said, this is no ordinary state. This is the highest state of yoga. And in the years to come, this will be worshipped everywhere on earth. People will carry it in their pockets and lockets, and they will worship it. Sri Ramakrishna himself said it. So you see, first time the picture of an avatar, highest manifestation of God consciousness in a human form has been captured, and it is before us. If you just concentrate on this physical form, something of his state will come into us. See, this is the beauty of meditation. This is the way to imbibe divine qualities. You just focus on the physical form with your mind, and you will imbibe something of that divinity. Isn't it magical, wonderful? The easiest way. And if you do it with devotion in your heart, he will become yours. It's the easiest path. Definitely. But let us invoke that devotion in us and then meditate. That is what I would like to tell you. The preliminaries of meditation are the same in every meditative process. If possible, sit in Padmasana. I don't want to sit here, but you can do it if you can. And automatically your spine will take a particular position when you sit in Padmasana. That's the beauty of it. Otherwise, it's fine. Keep your feet down. Keep the spine straight. Bring a certain stillness into your body, but feel free. You don't have to make it rigid. Close your eyes and regulate your breath. That's the most important step before we begin the meditation. Practice deep breathing. Now we will begin the meditation. Just ignite your heart with devotion. Concentrate on the heart center. Feel the luminous light there. It's the light of your own awareness. Just concentrate on the luminosity of your heart. This way, your vital energies will naturally get regulated and raised to the heart center. Just fix your attention there. In the luminous space of your heart, the home of your awareness. And in that light, now we will invoke the presence of the divine image of Sri Ramakrishna. Imagine the luminous figure of Sri Ramakrishna sitting there, resplendent in ethereal light, the very embodiment of divinity and holiness. You can also imagine your heart to be like a lotus flower, and Sri Ramakrishna is sitting on that flower, or just light, and he is sitting in that lighted space. Now we will begin the meditation on Sri Ramakrishna's divine form. Imagine his holy feet. Those feet, those blessed feet which give this abhay, fearlessness from all the trials of the world. Those feet which give liberation. Those feet which are the refuge of the whole world. Imagine those blessed feet of Thakur. Think of the mudra in his hands. His fingers are locked. Think of the loosely covered cloth around Sri Thakur's waist. He was barely aware of it. The state of yoga radiates awareness and intelligence. Sri Ramakrishna's body would emanate, a divine aura would emanate from that body. Imagine this. Imagine that glorious heart of God dripping with kindness, compassion, grace, divinity. He takes a human form for us of this world. That heart ever dripping with devotion to the Divine Mother, luminous with the ecstasy of the highest consciousness. Imagine Sri Ramakrishna's shoulders and neck with all the auspicious signs of the avatar, the embodiment of compassion, the embodiment of holiness, which means complete purity. Now imagine his luminous face, the lips parted with an ecstatic smile. He is completely absorbed, radiant and smiling. Imagine his features, they are divine. Look at his eyes like lotus petals stretching till his ears, but closed, only a little open, showing he is lost to the outer world and deeply absorbed, awakened within. Slightly open eyes. Absolutely rapt. Imagine Sri Ramakrishna's eyebrow, the resplendent forehead, the well-formed head, and the aura around it. Just fill your being with His presence. Fill your heart with His radiance, His love. God comes as man so that man may become God. He is in deep samadhi, oblivious of the world, but completely awakened and radiant within himself. Just meditate on this image of Thakur and feel his immense presence within your heart. Keep up the meditation. His divinity, His holiness, everything will seep into your heart. When we meditate on God, we become godly. It's the easiest way to transform ourselves. Please see this. Now, in all devotion, we will bow down at those holy feet with this mantra. Om Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharma swarupine avatara varishtaya Ramakrishna-Vivekananda te namaha. One who came to establish righteousness, religion, the embodiment of all religions. The greatest of the avatars. I bow down to his feet. With this mood of devotion, within us, we will slowly open our eyes. I'm so happy to see none of you want to open your eyes. And carry this feel of pure love in your hearts. This is the essence of spiritual life, to carry the Lord in our heart. Then we are bhaktas, we are devotees. There is a beautiful incident connected with this, which I would like to tell you, and I'll end the session with that. This incident is so beautiful, you have to imagine it, because it is Sri Ramakrishna's instruction being given to us on how to meditate on him. This incident happened in Dakshineshwar. Actually, the story begins like this. See, sometime in the 1950s, Swami Vishuddhananji Maharaj was at one time in the Dakshineshwar temple garden. I think you know about Swami Vishuddhananji. He was the 8th president of the Ramakrishna order. Later on, he became the president. But at that time, he was just in the temple garden when he saw a very old man sitting on that path which leads to the Panchavati. There's a small path leading from Thakur's room to the Panchavati. Just imagine those paths there. So he would sit there and remove thorns. He would sit there and remove thorns and all the weeds that were growing between the rocks. And he was very old, and with his catching his specs in one hand, he would keep doing it. And so Vishuddhananji Maharaj went to him and said, "Apni eta keno korchen? Why are you sitting in the sun and doing this? You don't have to do it." And he said, "Thakur amake bolechen. Thakur has told me to do it." Then Maharaj was puzzled, but he kept on doing that. And then Vishuddhananji Maharaj took him aside and said, "Thakur ki bolechen? What has he told you?" Then he told his story. He said, "See, when I came to this temple garden," that gardener is talking of this, okay? He's saying, "When I came to this temple garden, I was just a teenager." He was just a very young person. And I came looking for a job, and they asked me, "Well, you clean the garden." So I was doing that. I used to sweep and all that. And I would see this great holy man moving about in these grounds, and for the most part in an ecstatic state. And I would keep my respectable distance from him because I didn't know what to do. And then one night, I was sleeping on my cot, but it was very hot. So I came out for some fresh air, that Ganga air. And when I was standing there, I suddenly looked, and from the Beltala, I saw a blue light emanating. Not from Panchavati, from the Beltala, okay? I saw this blue light coming from there. And it mesmerized me. What is this? So I moved in that direction, and I went there, and I peeped and saw what is happening there. And I saw Sri Ramakrishna's luminous image there. He was sitting there in deep samadhi, and the light was emanating from his body, and the whole place was lit up, and the expression on his face, I can't describe to you what I saw that day. He was completely absorbed in God, and I could feel the strength, the impact of that force around me. And then I couldn't take it after some time because I was not evolved spiritually. So I came back. That whole night I couldn't sleep. I was just thinking of what I saw. And the next morning I saw Sri Ramakrishna coming through that same path as if nothing had happened. But I was stunned within myself. So I just did a Sashtang Pranam at his feet and looked at his face. And Sri Ramakrishna, he said this. He said, "Aaj etto bhakti kano?" Why so much devotion today? Then he looked steadily at me and he understood what I had seen. He's the Antaryamin, he will understand. He understood what I have seen, and then he told me, "Oh, you saw me, you saw that image? Otar upar dhyan korbi, ar ei rasta parishkar rakbi. Meditate on what you saw yesterday night and keep this road clean." He said this and went into his room. So I am doing this from that day onwards. I cannot leave it. See, this is an instruction to all of us. Meditate on him, meditate on that image, and keep the road of your life clean. That's the most important thing, because what you are doing, thinking, feeling, it's your way to God. Keep your life clean and meditate on him. That is all that is required to be done. Sri Ramakrishna himself has instructed us. Keep the road clean and meditate on him. Om Shanti Shanti.